Hi guys, so now I'm driving the newly facelifted Mercedes C-Class C300, and as mentioned in my walk-around video, this is now the mid-range model of the locally assembled C-Class family. Right above this, there is the 1.5 liter C200, this 2 liter C300 with 250 thereabouts horsepower competes directly with the BMW 330i. It is also on par with the Audi A5 Sportback. Now, the C300 here, this being a locally assembled model, currently enjoys a pricing advantage over the fully imported 330i and the A5 Sportback, and it also enjoys an equipment advantage because it is now the only model in this segment to offer auto braking, to offer blind spot warning. These features are conspicuously absent in the BMW 3 Series as well as the Audi A5 Sportback. Then again, I would not rule out seeing these things make appearances in the locally assembled variants of the G20 when it comes later. But right now, the C300 here enjoys that advantage, and if you're looking at one of the higher end premium compact execs, the C300 now is really one of the more convincing options. You see, previously, right, with the pre-facelift W205, I remember my first time driving the pre-facelift W205 C200. One of the things I remember very vividly was that after 2 or 3 corners, on the very first day when after I collected the car, the first 2-3 corners, really, right, the first 2-3 sweeping bends on the highway, I was really thinking, damn, I think I much prefer to be driving the BMW 3 Series instead, even though the interior of the 3 Series at that time nowhere near as pretty or as luxurious looking as the C-Class. Right? Simply put, with the pre-facelift C-Class, right, unless your car has an AMG badge with 2 digits, there is something lacking in the dynamics. The car felt like it lacked that final tenth of polish. It's like Mercedes just said, okay, we put this car, we have this kind of power, dynamics, okay, but they just rolled the car out, and as a result, at times, the regular C-Classes, the dynamics do feel a bit unsalted. Sometimes the ride quality is firmer than you would expect, yet at the same time, the chassis sharpness does not correlate with the firmness. The directional sharpness does not correlate with the firmness of the ride. Because you see, when you are driving a car with good handling, with sharp handling, you are okay to have that slight trade-off in ride comfort. So at that time, the C-Class penalized you on your ride comfort, but without offering anything back in its handling. Unless you are talking about the C43. The C43 was outright brilliant. It was sufficiently comfortable, yet at the same time, it handled okay, but the engine really made the driving experience properly special. So here with the C300 facelift, what I can tell you here is that it feels like Mercedes has sharpened all the rough edges that we previously reported of the W205. So the ride now is comfortable. The handling it is not as sharp as the G20. Okay, let's get that out of the way. It does not have the tenacious grip of an Audi Quattro, but it's stable enough, right? It's balanced enough that you can drive it decently fast in most conditions, and at the same time it's comfortable enough that this is a pleasant day-to-day car. Now remember when I said the A5 Sportback is dynamically, all right, the most offers you the most appealing day-to-day driving characteristics. I still stand by that, but the C300 now is just one step below. The G20 is sharper than both, but the ride is way firmer. And if you have come from say a BMW F33 series, the G20 can come as a bit of a culture shock. Now on the performance front, the C300 here, well, it follows a familiar template. 2-liter inline 4, thereabouts of 250 horses, driving the rear wheels via the familiar 9-speed automatic transmission. Now previously we have mentioned that the Mercedes 9-speeder, it does not quite have the kind of shifting smoothness or operating refinement as it is simply not as good as the ZF 8-speed that BMW uses. But here with the C-Class facelift, we can feel that Mercedes has improved on the programming of this gearbox. It now feels more decisive. It now feels more intelligent in the way it selects the appropriate ratio for the occasion. Now the engine, it does not pull with the same kind of ferocity of the 330i. So if I were to do a rolling acceleration at say 80 kilometers per hour, I stomp on the pedal of the 330i versus this, I'm pretty sure the 330i will pull clear. The 330i is just, it gives you that feeling that it pins you to the back of pins you to the seat. But this one, it's the acceleration curve is more gentle, but there is a relentless feel to it. So it is still plenty fast, okay, but it's just that the gradient of acceleration is smoother than the 3 Series. But make no mistake, you still have 250 horsepower under the hood. This thing can still go pretty fast. So the verdict of the C-Class, this new facelifted C-Class, definitely much improved than before. And Mercedes has also been very smart in the way they rationalize the lineup. So before this, all right, if you go back a year ago, the C-Class, they offered you the C180, the C200, C250, C300, C43, C63, a very wide range of cars. And there's something I appreciate with Mercedes, because they give you a wide selection of cars, then you just choose what you prefer. In contrast to BMW, when you walked into a BMW showroom looking for a 3 Series, you either have a 3-cylinder 318i or a plug-in hybrid. There is no, say, 200 horsepower, 250 horsepower regular petrol variant of the 3 Series on offer. So Mercedes, in that sense, they've been very smart in giving the consumer a wider range of options. But now they have trimmed it down a bit, but it still makes sense. So there's still a wide spread of models. You still have a 1.5 liter variant, C200, 180 horsepower. You have this 2 liter turbo, which gives you 250 horsepower. Then you still have a 3 liter V6 C43, 360 horsepower, and you have a V8 you have a V8 with 500 horsepower. So it is a wide selection of cars, and that is good, and it is and they have eliminated the ones that would not have made sense anymore, like the 1.6 liter C180 now no longer makes sense because now the C200 is 1.5, and there is no further need for too many 2 liter turbo models, so they ditched the C250. Now C200, C300, C43 makes perfect sense to me. So what we have here now with this new facelifted C-Class is, it is a much better car than before, better to drive, better equipped. And when you consider this against the competition, the 330i and the A5 Sportback, Mercedes has been very clever in making use of its locally assembled status, and as well as the lower taxes as a result, to give you a competitive price and a comprehensive equipment that its rivals cannot match up to. So yeah, I mean, at the 300,000 ringgit price bracket, the C300 now is, to me, the most convincing choice.